What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, I'm here to give you guys a little bit late, but better late than never. Give you guys my 2022 record predictions for the New England Patriots. We're going to be going game by game, week by week. At the end of this video, I'm going to compile my overall win and loss total to give you your New England Patriots record, at least from my perspective for the end of the season. I'll tell you, do I think this team's going to make the playoffs? Is this a real Super Bowl run? How deep do I think they're going to make it into the playoffs? Let me just say this. A lot of people are going to look at this video and they're going to say, if they're not a Patriots fan, they're going to say, dude, this is biased. You're a Patriots fan. If you know this channel, I don't make anything biased. I tell you the good. I tell you the bad. I keep it real with you because at the end of the day, what is me lying to you about how this team is going to do for any of us? I can tell you how great this team is going to do, but if they perform bad, what's that going to do for us? This is my genuine thoughts on how I think that the team is going to perform. So before we get into this video, of course, you guys know how we roll. Let's hop into that PG intro. All right, guys, so let's hop into this. I am actually going to pull up the schedule here so you guys can follow it with me. I have a little bit of notes here too. So week one, that's literally today. At least when this video comes out, it's literally today. So happy game day, Pats Nation. You know, football's finally here. This is the start of the regular season. But week one, we are versus Miami. This is the first time since, I believe, 2016 that the New England Patriots are starting week one on the road. The last time they did so was against the Cardinals, which again, I believe was in 2016. They took home that dub with a field goal late in the game. But week one here against Miami, this one's tough, guys. This one's tough right off the bat because it's Miami. It's a divisional opponent. And I think I speak for all of us when we say, dear God, if whoever makes the NFL schedule is listening to this video somehow, for the love of God, please let this be the last time, at least for a while, that we play the Miami Dolphins week one of the opening season, because this is what, year 3 or 4 that we've played this team week one in a row. It's just, it's boring. It's boring at this point. But as we all know, last year, the Patriots lost this game to the Dolphins week one at home in a game they really should have won. Now, I could see this game going either way, and there's just a lot of unknowns currently. That's what's hard to predict about week one, is the fact that there's just so many unknowns league-wide. But ultimately, I'm going to give this I actually have little cars I'm going to queue up here too on wins and losses. I'm going to give this a loss. Yes, you guys see that right. I'm going to give this a loss for the New England Patriots. Again, I see this one going either way. But this is at Miami. New England does not fare well in Miami. And in general, teams don't play well in Miami. I don't know what it is. Is it the heat or what? But they have a very good record playing at home. I just think the Patriots are going to start off slow. And I think the ultimate decision on who wins this game is going to come down to who's more NFL ready week one, because I think both of these teams could start off slow. The Miami Dolphins having a lot of new faces. They have a new head coach, new schemes being implemented. This is going to be a lot for them to get on track week one. But what we've seen from the Patriots all offseason, I mean, they're having a potential new offensive scheme, a new offensive play caller. There's just a lot of question marks surrounding the New England Patriots too, and we've seen that more specifically offensively. Defensively, I'm really not all that worried. This is the first time we're really going to see this Patriots starting defense all come together for the first time. But other than that, I think it's pretty solidified what to expect from this Patriots defense here. Patriots offense is where the question marks are. Offensive line, how's that going to perform? There's question marks on that. No continuity around this offensive line, and I think this could be the same situation that we were in a year ago, where this Patriots offensive line performs bad. There's no continuity. It's all over the place. They're not playing as one unit, which you have to do as an offensive line. I think we're going to see some stupid mistakes. We're going to see some stupid penalties offensively. And I think that's ultimately what's going to kill the Patriots. But like I said, this could go the other way. The Miami Dolphins just as well could not be ready for week one and not have everything together. So again, I think it's who's going to be more ready, but I'm going to give a slight edge to Miami because this is in their home stadium. Now, moving on to week 2, we are going to be going to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this game for me, this one wasn't all that hard to predict. I think it's going to be a fun game. I don't expect a blowout, but I do expect a win here by the New England Patriots. Now, why do I expect the Patriots to win this game? Well, it ultimately comes down to the Steelers roster, okay? I don't think this Steelers roster is all that great. They had a few key departures this offseason also. They obviously lost Joe Hayden, one of their starting corners over the last couple of years, not to mention that quarterback situation. Now, they did draft Kenny Pickett here in this draft this past year, but he's not going to be starting. Mitchell Trubisky is going to be starting, and I'm confident with the Patriots going up against Mitchell Trubisky. They also lost Juju Smith-Schuster, which has been one of their key guys of the last several years. Obviously, not too much of a worry for them because they have a plethora of different receivers that are going to step up for them. So it's really not like the Steelers are going empty here on wide receiver or anything. But week 2, I think they still have a lot to figure out, and I'm just not expecting Mitch Trubisky to have a very good a very good start to the season. I think that he could be benched, mid to late season for that rookie in Kenny Pickett. But again, ultimately, I think this is going to be a win for the New England Patriots. I think they'll be able to take advantage of this Steelers offense, their issues that they're having. And like I said, I don't expect the Steelers defense to be as good as we've seen in recent years. I think the Steelers defense is still going to be one of the best in the league. It's still going to be very good. They have still a very good coaching staff, their head coach there, Mike Tomlin. So it's still going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I am confident that the Patriots are going to come out with the win here. Now, coming out here to week 3, this is going to be versus Miami. This is going to be our first home game of the season. And the question mark for this year is going to be, hey, how are the Patriots going to play at home? Is this going to be one of the seasons where they're just absolutely stand out at home? Or is this going to be one of the seasons where they're better on the road than they are at home? I think week 3 against the Ravens, the New England Patriots are going to come out with a win here. I think this is going to surprise some people. Guys, I just don't think that the Ravens are this huge, big, stout team in the AFC that really you have to worry about all too much. I think they're definitely a playoff contender. They're a good team, but the Patriots have had the number here of the Ravens for a few seasons. And this was even in 2020 when the Patriots played them with Cam Newton under center with a 10 times worse offense that they had compared to now. The Patriots have been able to beat them even, I believe last year too. So like I said, I'm very confident the Patriots can come out with the win against the Ravens. The Patriots defense also is a little bit different since the last time the Patriots have played the Ravens. For example, the Patriots have gotten more younger, athletic, and faster, versus the last couple of matchups that they had with the Ravens. Going up against Lamar Jackson has been a little bit of a headache because they were too slow. They were too sluggish. These guys were just running all over them, running all over the place. So honestly, as long as this offense can put points up on the board, I am very confident in the Patriots defense being able to hold Lamar Jackson and their offense. Again, this really just comes down to, hey, we are now 3 weeks into the regular season. Can the Patriots offense bring it together and put more points up on the board than the opposing team? So ultimately, like I said, confident that the Patriots can come out here and play against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens as they've been able to do over the last few seasons now. I'm bringing up the schedule again here. But heading here into week 4, this is going to be against Green Bay, okay? This one is another one you could kind of see going both ways. But me personally, I'm going to say that this is going to be a game that the New England Patriots, unfortunately, are going to lose. Now, the Patriots offense, I think, is going to struggle in this game. The Packers offense, I do believe, is going to take a step back. I think Aaron Rodgers is still going to be fantastic. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League by the end of the season. He's going to find a way to do it, but they lost a couple of receivers, one of which being Devontae Adams, their big star, their go-to guy, really the entirety of their offense, if you think about it. I'm not worried about their running game with Aaron Jones. I know they lost Scantling also here. I'm not too worried about the offense as much when it comes to the Green Bay Packers. I do think that their defense, like I said, though, is still going to be very good. It's going to be very stout. It's going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL by the end of the season. Especially Jair Alexander, he's going to be just an absolute threat for the Patriots. I think it's going to be hard for the Patriots offense really to operate at all. And I think that at the end of the day, a veteran like Aaron Rodgers is going to end up finding a way to put points up on the board. And I think the Patriots offense is going to struggle. At the end of the day, you have the Green Bay Packers putting up more points on the board than the Patriots offense and Mac Jones. I think we just kind of hit that block there for this game. That ultimately becomes an L. Not to mention, this game's at Lambeau, okay? Lambeau is one of the hardest fields to play in the entire National Football League. So I think that's also an advantage that they have here. But moving on here to week 5, there's really not much, really not much I got to say about this game, okay? This game is against the Detroit Lions. This is a win. I don't feel like I have to say much about this game other than, hey, this game's a win. I do think the Detroit Lions will be better this year than in recent years. I do like the mentality they have. I love the dog they have in them. I love their coaching staff, especially their head coach. So this is a fun team, I think, to watch. But, I mean, really from top to bottom, there's nothing that scares me about this team. This game's also at home, so I don't see a world in which the Patriots don't come out with a win. There's, again, not much to say about this game. But heading into week 6, this is against Cleveland. I've seen a lot of people say the New England Patriots are going to drop this ball. The Patriots are going to lose this game. I just do not see it. So with that being said, the Patriots are going to come out, with a win. And when you really look at the facts of this game, I don't know how you really argue with it. If Deshaun Watson was playing this game, I probably would have given the Patriots an L. The Patriots just aren't great against Deshaun Watson. We're in week 6 at this point. If Deshaun Watson was playing, I think he would have been acclimated back into the NFL by this point. And then I would have said, hey, this is an L for the Patriots. But no Odell Beckham Jr., no Jarvis Landry. They do have Cooper. That's really their big threat. That's their big wide receiver. The Patriots really just have to stop the run game, and if they can do so, I'm confident in them winning this game. Jacoby Brissett is going to be their starting quarterback at this point. The Patriots drafted Jacoby Brissett. The Patriots brought Brissett into this league, okay? The Patriots know how to use his strengths and weaknesses against him. I'm very, very confident in the Patriots coming out with the win in this game. The Patriots also have had the number of the Cleveland Browns for several years here. I just don't see a world, as long as the Patriots can keep up with that run game with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, that this should not be a win for the New England Patriots. Now, heading into week 7, this game is going to be against the Bears. The Bears are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the National Football League this season. I really wish N'Keal Harry wouldn't have been injured, just so we can see how he would have performed against this team, just for fun's sake. But that's not going to happen because he's injured. This is a win. Like I said, this is pretty easy. This is pretty easy going, pretty straightforward. This is also versus the Bears, so it's going to be an at-home game. There's not really much to say about this. I feel like this from top to bottom, offense to defense to special teams, all three phases of the game, the Patriots are better, and that's really just a win for me. Week 8. Week 8, this is going to be against the Jets. This is going to be at New York. I have the Patriots winning this game. I heard a lot of people say that the Patriots are going to split with the Jets this year, okay? I just want to take a second to also say the Patriots have been getting some unnecessary hate this offseason, as if we took this gigantic step back, in which we really didn't. We lost J.C. Jackson, which was a key piece. But other than that, like, there's really not much guys that we don't currently have on this team compared to last year that I say that should make a massive difference. So why we're being treated as a team that I've heard some people say will only win 5 games, will compete for the 4th spot in the AFC East, be one of the worst teams in the National Football League, down there with teams like Detroit, the Chicago Bears, the Jets. Like, who else am I talking about? Just a bottom tier team, the Panthers. And I just do not see it. I think a lot of people just don't understand this. This doesn't just come down to talent of the roster, but it really comes down to coaching and a week-to-week scheme, and how you go out and implement that scheme and how successful you are on a week-to-week basis. That's really what's going to determine how successful you are. And I think the Patriots proved that in 2020 when they somehow won 7 games and almost made the playoffs with Cam Newton under center, and in really every phase a worse team, offense, defense, special teams. So again, I'm just confident with the Patriots winning this game against the Jets. The Jets really didn't do anything to me that signifies that they are going to take that next big leap forward. I think they're going to be more successful than last year, but I still think they're going to be one of the more bottom tier teams in the NFL. They'll make some progress, but nothing to worry. They'll still finish fourth in the AFC East. Zach Wilson still doesn't scare me. They didn't do anything significant. I think they had a really good draft, but I mean, are you really going to rely on the guys you drafted to really take that next step forward? This offensive line still not good. Mekhi Becton, he's expected to not play. I believe he's out for the season, so that's a big loss for them offensively, for their offensive line, which, as we all know, pressure Zach Wilson, and he's just not going to perform well. So I think this is going to be a dub for the New England Patriots. Let me just pull that up here because I don't think I put up that win there, but now we head here into week 9. This is right before the bye week. This is going to be in Indianapolis to play against the Colts. The Patriots had a pretty close game last year against the Colts. They started to make a comeback, but were not able to pull it off. Unfortunately, I do have to say that I do think this is going to be an L for the New England Patriots. Why do I think that? I think that the Colts are still a very good team. When you look at what the issues the Patriots had was with Jonathan Taylor, and rightfully so. How much better are the Patriots going to be at stopping the run? I'm not sure. I do expect them to be better, but to be one of the best in the NFL and enough to stop Jonathan Taylor, I just don't think so. They also upgraded, in my opinion, at quarterback. I think that Matt Ryan is a really, really good quarterback. I think he's very underrated. He's been a very consistent quarterback, and he doesn't play for the Falcons anymore. The Falcons had some weapons for sure, but they had a terrible offensive line. They had a terrible defense, and now he's going somewhere where he has weapons. He has a very good offensive line, and he has a defense that's going to give him more opportunities. I think the Patriots are going to get ran over by Jonathan Taylor. I think that Matt Ryan is going to perform well in the passing game. And again, they do still have a good defense also. So, to me, this is just another L by the Patriots. We then head into week 10. That's going to be our bye week, but then we head out of that bye week in week 11. And in recent years, the Patriots have not done too well after that bye week. But fortunately for us, coming out of that bye week, we're playing the Jets. Okay. Like I said, I had the Patriots winning at New York a couple of weeks prior. What's going to change from there? This is at home now after that bye week, after some rest. The New England Patriots are going to be able to come out in a home game and play against the Jets, a divisional rival, which division games are always hard, but a divisional rival, one of the worst teams in the league, or at least one of the more bottom teams in the league, at least I expect. So I still think that this is going to be a dub. You heard that right. I don't think the Patriots are going to be splitting with the Jets. I think they're going to continue to blow out the Jets. So again, I already talked about the Jets, and there's really not much more I need to say about that. As long as the Patriots don't pull out their classic, hey, we were on a bye week, and then when we're supposed to get better after the bye week, we get worse. As long as they don't pull that crap out, they should definitely win that game. Week 11 here, or excuse me, not week 11, week 12 here. Excuse me, as I flip the page here in my notes. Minnesota, the Patriots will travel to Minnesota. This is a really tough game because this is a holiday game. I'm very excited for this because it's on Thanksgiving, but it's also very tough because primetime games and holiday games are just always different. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different level of competition. You're in Minnesota, and sometimes when you're in the bright lights, you're in these primetime games, a lot of times we see surprising things happen. So it's really hard to predict this game. Ultimately, I am going to say that the New England Patriots do come out with a win in this game. This is one of those games, again, where it could go both ways because of the circumstances. It's a little bit hard to predict. But look, contain Justin Jefferson, and you should be able to win this game. I'm someone who's not scared of Dalvin Cook. He'll probably be injured in this game anyway and won't even be playing if his track record repeats itself. Defensively, I'm not worried about what the Vikings really have at this point. From secondary to the defensive line, they have a couple bodies on the defensive line, but other than that, there's really no one that scares me. By this point, the Patriots should have it a lot more together than they did to start the season. And again, as long as you can contain Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins, and just contain that offense in general, that passing game, I'm confident that the Patriots can come out with a win in this one. But heading on here into week 13, unfortunately, we play the Buffalo Bills, who on Thursday Night Football absolutely blew out the Rams. I think this is going to be an L. I mean, I'm not sure who is going to beat the Bills. I'm not talking about the AFC East. I'm talking in general who is going to beat the Bills. Hopefully, the Bills somehow find a way to crap the bed midseason like they did last year. But I think the Bills could go all the way to the Super Bowl this year. I think this is easily one of the best teams in football. This is going to be a very hard team to beat. I just don't think the Patriots have it in them. Yeah, they beat them once last year, but that was really under weather circumstances. And anytime weather wasn't a circumstance last year, the Bills just wiped the floor with us, unfortunately. So, from a realistic standpoint, from a team in the Bills that only got better and could end up landing Odell Beckham Jr., like, this is a loss. This is a loss, and there's nothing else to say about it. It's unfortunate, but it's a loss. Moving on here to week 14. This is going to be at Arizona to play the Cardinals. And I've seen a lot of people also say this is going to be an L for the Patriots. I think that this is going to be a win for the Patriots. It could go both ways. The Cardinals are just one of those teams where it could always go both ways. But over the last couple of years, or the last couple matchups, rather, the Patriots have had the number over the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know the last time, the Cardinals actually won. I looked at the offseason kind of transactions for them, and they really didn't do anything. They didn't sign really any big names. The biggest thing they did was trade with Baltimore for Hollywood Brown. So they added another good wide receiver. They signed AJ Brown to a 1-year contract. Um, at this point, D Hop should be back. As long as he's not injured, he should be back. So the only thing that really scares me is their wide receiver core. The secondary has to show up. But other than that, defensively, there's nothing that scares me about this team, from their edge rushers to their defensive line. Um, they have a couple of good bodies in that secondary, but not a lot. Not scared of that linebacker core. They just don't have a lot of talent overall throughout that roster. Like I said, too, this is kind of like back to when I was mentioning about or not Arizona, but the Ravens. The Patriots got faster. They should be able to contain Kyler Murray. And as long as they can contain Kyler Murray from going out and scrambling and making plays with his legs and extending plays, this should be a dub for the New England Patriots. Now, thank God the Patriots got the dub here, because now we are heading into week 15. The Patriots are on another road game here at Vegas, and this is going to be an L for me. The Patriots did not play well at all in that final preseason game against Vegas, in which they were in Vegas in that case. And Bill Belichick never performs well against former disciples. I mean, look at the Titans and Vrabel. He has a tough time beating him. When we played Detroit, when Matt Patricia was there, we lost that game. Playing Brian Flores was always tough also. I mean, you can go on and on and on with former Belichick disciples. They just always find a way to beat Bill Belichick. And with this guy being Josh McDaniels, and you look at the talent that they have from top to bottom, and just all these former Patriots too, they know how to play New England, okay? This is also in Vegas. The Patriots won't have home field advantage. It's Josh McDaniels, it's Chandler Jones, it's we can go on and on with the former Patriots here. Brandon Bolden. So I'm pretty confident that this is going to be an L for the Patriots. Now, moving on here to week 16 here. This is going to be an at-home game, and this is going to be against the Bengals. This one's also tough because I don't think anyone ever predicted the Bengals were going to go all the way last year to the Super Bowl, and they ended up doing so. I think this is a really good roster, but the Bengals are one of those teams where health is always a concern. Are these guys going to stay healthy? Because they have a lot of talent, especially offensively. I think offensively is really the threat of this team. You look at Joe Mixon in the running back group. You look at Joe Burrow as the quarterback, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, that trio of wide receivers. I think their offensive line got better this offseason too, adding former Patriots Ted Karras. So, I think they got better in areas of need defensively. I think their defense is really underrated too. So honestly, as long as they're healthy and nothing big happens, like, Joe Burrow is out of the game, I honestly think that this is going to unfortunately be a loss for the New England Patriots. And that's just going to be that. As long as they don't take a step back, which I'm not predicting. Again, I do think this is going to be a loss for the Pats. But moving on here to week 17, we are an at-home game against Miami. And guys, this is going to be a win for the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to split with Miami per usual. Miami could be hot at this point, getting it together, but we lost to them earlier in the season. They're also coming to New England, which is going to be very, very cold. It's hard for the Patriots to acclimate to hot weather at this point in the season, but I think it's going to be the other way too. It's going to be hard for a hot team to acclimate to the cold weather here. At this point, it's going to be what? Late November, early December. So again, I do think that the Patriots are going to win this game here against the Miami Dolphins. Then we're going to move on here to week 18. This is going to be the final week of the season. And unfortunately, guys, I am going to give this another L just because, again, it's the Bills. All the same reasons I said before. I've seen people say that we're going to split with the Bills. I don't see it. The same people who said that we are going to split with the Bills are the same people that said that we were going to split with the Jets, compete for the 4th spot, and only win 5 games. So clearly these people just don't know what they're talking about. I could see the Patriots winning this game for one reason. For one reason, I could see the Patriots winning this game specifically against the Bills is if the Bills are resting their starters. At this point, the Bills are getting ready for the playoffs. They could potentially be having a bye week coming up. They don't want to risk any injuries. The Patriots could be at a standpoint where they're either in the playoffs and maybe they're resting some of their starters, or they're at a position where this is a must-win game for them to make the playoffs and all their starters are in. In that case, if all the Patriots starters are in and the Bills have a significant amount of starters out resting up for the playoffs, then I could see this being a win for the Patriots. But at this current time, that's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. So I'm going to say that that is just not going to happen right now. And that's just going to be an L for the Patriots, ultimately meaning that this team is going to end up being 10-7. Okay. 10-7 is not bad, guys. 10-7 is not bad whatsoever. For a team that I think a lot of people are expecting to take this gigantic step back, this isn't bad at all. Okay. I've seen some people say that the Patriots can maybe win like 12 or 13 games. I personally don't see it. You could. I feel like the Patriots are just one of those teams where you just don't necessarily know how they're going to play. And I think it's going to be very dictated on this new offensive scheme. It's going to be dictated on, can this offense bring it together? Can this team in general stay healthy? Can they not go back into that big loop and kind of dumpster fire that they fell into after that bye week during the 2021 season? But I'm confidently sitting here at 10-7. Will that put us in the playoffs? Will that not put us in the playoffs? I'm going to sit on the safe side right now, and I'm going to say the Patriots are on the outside looking in to make the playoffs just because of how absolutely stacked the AFC is. The Patriots could definitely make this roster with this record. Any other season, they should make the playoffs. But again, because of how talented this AFC is with, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Raiders, like only so many teams are going to make the playoffs. And even winning 10 games, that just might not be enough for the Patriots to make this roster, or not with this roster, but make the playoffs. But what are your guys' thoughts on my record predictions with the Patriots finishing 10-7? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I will have you guys covered for everything, including post-game recaps. I'll be going live for all games this season, post-game, including this game for week 1 against Miami, concluding the game 15 to 20 minutes after. I will be going live on this channel to discuss and answer some of your questions. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on your notifications here by hitting that bell notification so you guys know when I do go live and post. And of course, become a Patreon member to support me, support the channel, get some benefits out of it also. But like always, appreciate you guys for watching.